Hi, this is Matthew Clark calling to session the, October 27th, 2025 meeting of the Willington, Connecticut Economic Development Commission. It is 6:30 p.m. An attendance for us here on the commission is Mike Johansson, Bill Rankin, our newest almost member, Joan Traskowitz, so needs to be sworn in. Welcome, Joan. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you.
And I'm Matt Clark, and in the audience we have one person. And I think that we're going to start off with public participation. So we have no one in the room. Kathy, did you have anything that you wanted to add for our meeting? Anything you wanted to discuss?
No, I just thought I would join in tonight to see how things were going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Kathy. Okay, so commission business. I think if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to switch the order of these two. Would that be okay? Not a problem. All right with you?
Yeah.
Mike, that okay with you? All right, so we'll go to tax stable. I can vote on it, but I'm going to do that. We'll go to tax stabilization first. This went to the town meeting. It was approved by the Board of Selectmen. A lot of work on it, and posted online a package of information about tax stabilization, or as I've been referred, it's also referred to as tax assessment stabilization. We had a robust discussion at our town meeting, and it did not pass. So the feeling of people, some folks were against commercial development in Willington at all. We have one or two of those. That's a valid thing. I understand people feel that way. The other folks who felt as though it was, a stabilization agreement would be more likely to lead to a very, very, very million square foot large, commercial building, which they were against and voted down. So that was some of that. A lot of folks said that it was too much too soon and they didn't understand it. There was a lot of commentary in that regard.
They also expressed concern about too much of the decision lies with the selectmen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were concerned about that with regards to, do the selectmen have the ability to do it? But they tabled it. They wanted to continue discussions.
Yeah, the commentary at next to the last part of the discussion we had, we did vote, and it was voted down. But the conversation leading up to that was, I think what we should do is have a public hearing. Several people said that, and the people could, have more of an opportunity to review this and understand what it's all about. So, as you said, there was that as well, which was, I'm not quite sure that the selectmen now or in the future have the expertise necessary to negotiate these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, what happens in these, and this is again, it's a learning experience, but generally what happens in these things is the lawyers negotiate, and it's not up to the selectmen. The selectmen are there and they vote to agree or not agree, but we have an agent on our behalf who is negotiating on our behalf on an equal footing with the other party. Both sides here have something they want. One side wants a certain amount of desirable commercial development in their town, and the other side wants a parcel or a property in a location that's very advantageous, which Willington is. So you have, both sides want this to happen. It's just a question of making it happen. So I understand that people can feel that we may not have the expertise in the future for negotiating these kinds of things at the selectman level. But on the other hand, we would have experts that were negotiating on our behalf. I think it might be helpful or beneficial for us to look at scheduling a public hearing where we could provide some more information and some more discussion, maybe make a presentation of tax stabilization or property tax assessment stabilization.
Yeah, I mean, we actually need to have that as something to sell.
Yeah.
Or promote the strategic plan. But that was, I thought, was our, kind of like our foothold on the next step.
Yes.
Because if we start meeting with brokers or developers, we've got nothing to sell.
Yeah, well, we have less to sell than any other person who is talking to those brokers.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
So it's, that's true. So,
I think in place of a formal hearing, a workshop might be what we need. Where people can ask questions. The hearings, you're kind of limited, just do discussion. But having some sort of a workshop and maybe somebody who has a history with this to come in and explain what's happened in another town and how it works.
we talked, Mike and I talked a little bit about this week about maybe possibly laying out we used to, business school, we called it case study, so we'd lay out a case study. This is how this works. First this happens, then this happens,
Yeah,
then this, then
That's
this.
a good idea.
Here's the negotiation,
Yeah.
here's the process you go through.
That's a very good idea.
And it's usually done with real numbers and real situations. So,
I like the idea, because part of the strategic plan is to have a town meeting, not a town meeting with a presentation. It might make sense to do both.
Yeah.
At the same meeting.
I like that. That's good. Mike, do you have an opinion on that? Putting the two together?
I think for expediting it, it would be kind of the best situation to put them both together, because if we have a workshop and we have a public meeting, I think you're still only going to draw certain persons and that's it. And it's going to draw it out even further. And I think if it's done at the same time, people be educated enough on what we're trying to instill, and then their input can be retroactive in trying to change this or adjust it, and therefore it's more palatable. Where if you separate it, people have kind of a little bit of time, it lags, and people kind of forget a little bit of the information. And I think if you kind of involve it all together, people might just be more receptive and then can kind of move towards kind of establishing something a bit quicker. So,
All right. I think we're pretty much in agreement on this, right? We don't need to vote. I mean, I don't know if we need to vote. The thing about the town hearing is, if we do the town hearing, then it appears we can spend money on it. We can spend money on an announcement. It'll appear in the newspaper.
They'll call it a hearing
And do a workshop. I mean, it's not like the result will be legally binding anything.
Yeah.
It'll be a hearing. No, when we did the, remember a couple years ago, we did the new school. There's a big meeting there, and we called that a public hearing.
Where is the ordinance right now? It's in limbo, right?
Yeah.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Nothing. It went and then it got voted down, so it's nothing more than just a draft on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So how do we promote the next step?
I think that,
What you're saying, the ordinance is dead.
right,
So if we do nothing, it will just.
They'll die.
that's it, nothing happens. Yeah, there's no sort of, the process doesn't envision sort of that second bite at the apple. That doesn't come back around, or okay, well, since it failed at town meeting, it goes back to Board of Selectmen to rework. There's no official anything, but I think, I mean, I could look, it's possible that we have money left in the strategic plan ARPA account, but we're talking to advertise the public hearing, like we're talking $150. Like this
I'm
is
sure that would be okay. I mean,
yeah, I know we have it in land use budget, and that would be if we did it twice in the newspaper like we normally would. And if we are going to discuss the strategic plan,
yeah,
like I said, if we have in there, we could advertise it. We could advertise it as a listening session. I feel like if it was maybe jointly held, Board of Selectmen and EDC, I think the benefit to making it at least feel formal is that people think, oh, this is a public hearing, there's things happening, we should attend and pay attention. If you call it a listening session, then it feels more comfortable, and maybe people are willing to attend with the other side. I mean, sometimes people perceive that as they're just listening about what we have to say, and don't perceive this as action and feel like there's as much pressure. If you say it's a public hearing, that feels formal, that feels like things are happening, I need to go, I need to pay attention.
That's good, I'm convinced.
I agree.
We can call it both, we can call it whatever you want. Procedurally, we're not in any jeopardy of doing anything because there will be no required action by the group that's there, right? The Board of Selectmen doesn't need to have a listening session to vote to send it to town meeting. So we could call it whatever you want, workshop, listening session, public hearing.
And we'll call it workshop and public hearing, something like that, or workshop and listening session.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right, so we're good with that, right?
Is that for the ordinance or is that for the strategic plan?
Yes.
Both.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Mike, that's what your thought was too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed on that, that's good. All right, let's do that.
It may be tricky to figure out timing because we're getting into that time of year, but
Oh, yeah.
with other, and you know, like a lot of the commissions are gonna switch over.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have new members
Some
and
members, new people, sure.
so, you know, I think if everybody's agreed, then what we can do is try to figure out, I don't know. We'll have to just do an internal coordination, or I can work with Shannon or something, we'll have to pick some days that we can get everybody in the same room. Although Mondays, you have your meetings and the alternating Mondays, Board of Selectmen has meetings, so it feels like a Monday might be a good day.
Monday might be a good day, so depending on, talk scheduling and stuff like that, but.
Yeah.
My schedule's opening up for evenings, so my availability is gonna be increased,
Okay.
so moving forward.
So we probably want to make sure it's not happening on a day that another board or commission's meeting.
Right.
So we'll have to
Right.
look, that's few and far between, but so that if Board of Selectmen or Finance or somebody wants to
We don't
attend.
want to conflict with any, right?
Check
All right.
the comments.
Yeah. Okay, and, so, let's talk a little bit about that case study thing, because I would like to present that. And, Mike, you had mentioned, that there might be, we used to do when I was in consulting, we would blind a report, we would take a report that we did for somebody else.
Mhm.
Just take the name out and change all the facts and figures and stuff. All the concepts were the same, all the results were the same, the write-up was the same, everything's the same, except you can't figure out who it was.
I think if John and I can put our heads together, but I think we've got some examples we can pull from, and I think the key is gonna have to be, when we were at the town meeting, we saw, you had a graphic, Andy Marco had a graphic, everybody has their mind what that looks like. But it all starts with the first number being arbitrary.
Yeah.
We need to have the first number not be arbitrary.
Right.
So we need to take a project that has a value of X, we need to apply the town's mill rate to
Yeah.
determine what the revenue is, and then depreciate it and show
Agreed.
the number so people can see the difference. And yeah, we'll pull out all the geographic information about what town and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll just apply the structure of this ordinance to
An example.
a real value.
Okay, that's true.
I believe there were
Thank you.
20 towns that had already adopted this. correct?
Yeah, I took out a few that were weird, that were either different, or they weren't exactly what we were, or, so it was actually 22 or 23.
Any idea over how long a period that?
It's only been for the past 2 years that it's been in effect.
Well, it was amended, but I don't know when the original language was adopted. I would imagine that number is much greater and just applies to towns that have tax agreement ordinances.
Right.
What that says.
And I took out the ones that were too, like, the ones were all about abatements and stuff like that. I'm like, Willington doesn't want that. So I took those out, and the 20 were at least tangentially, they looked mostly about stabilization, or included stabilization and abatement,
Yeah, and there's an argument to be made, and that the solar folks made it, which is that there's a statute that supports the Board of Selectmen entering into a stabilization agreement for certain projects that meet the criteria in statute. There's a lot of reasons why we decided that didn't make sense, and that's why we went in the way of the ordinance. They originally advocated for, no, just use the statute. But another community may be making use of the statute and have these agreements in place, there's just no ordinance.
So to review, we'll try and set up a meeting. We'll have announcement in the paper. We will call it listening session workshop for property assessment, commercial property assessment stabilization and presentation of the economic development strategic plan, right?
Yeah, once we find a date and we coordinate that at least Board of Selectmen is available and figure out where, yeah, then we can run a couple of notices. We can get on the website and start pushing things out.
Okay.
Do you think it's gonna take too long a session to do both of these at the same time?
I don't,
Particularly if you do it as an evening thing, you
I
know?
don't know. I mean, how long did it take us to do? Well, that's not true. I mean, the public is gonna have a lot more questions, but,
Yeah.
but P and Z, we did that thing in what, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen, 15 minutes.
We got the Board of Finance coming up in November.
The information's been out there for a while too, so it's not like this is a brand new topics that where people can come up with ideas. I mean, it's been circulating for some time, so there's already people have already commented questions and feedback and at the meeting the other night, so I don't think it would drone on.
So I'm sorry. So Mike, was Mike is suggesting that basically after the new Board of Selectmen is seated, that we find a couple of good dates and then do a full advertised public presentation, like at the Board of Selectmen meeting, but have basically the public in attendance?
No, not at a Board of Selectmen meeting.
Okay.
It's a joint meeting held by the Board of Selectmen and the EDC.
Okay.
That is notified in the paper and titled, like I just said, which is both of these things together. Is that?
We're probably looking at January.
I'd rather not, but yes,
I mean, the thing that we heard was that people wanted time, and I think that we need to give people at least a couple of weeks heads up that we're having it. And if we put the information out.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're basically into November, so I mean, I don't know, maybe ahead of the holiday, but
I don't even want to do that.
I'm just talking mid-December, and then people are gonna say it's, snow and holiday and this and that, so,
Oh, we got, next week we have elections, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
And then when is the actual transfer
18th.
of November?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be January.
So it'll be basically, they have, all the new members have to be sworn in and have to receive their whatever. So it'll be December before that all kind of shakes out. And so realistically, I just think if you want to give people a runway and publicize it and get it into the newspaper and all those things, coordinate schedules, I think you're probably looking at January. Which,
We don't need to have that at town hall, we can do that down the library.
sure,
Yeah, we can do whatever we want to.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the library would be better.
get the senior center, I mean, if we're gonna do it, are we gonna do it in person only, we're gonna do it hybrid, all things we can talk about, but
We're the library actually isn't set up for Zoom. Well, we don't need to do all this now, but the library isn't set up for Zoom. is it?
You can do it, yeah, but we don't have, what do you call it, the owl? But
Is it the all portable?
we have one that's portable.
So we.
That's what we did when we
do
did
the
it
senior
at
center.
the senior center, I brought an owl and we set it all up. So we can do it wherever.
Right.
I
wish that with the old town hall, I wish that the acoustics were better. There's acoustics are there, and it is horrible, it is terribly bad. But, okay, anyway. Okay, so anything else on commercial property tax stabilization?
I think the other thing that we talked about was if any of the other, because Mike was there too, so if you have thoughts about things that we heard or opinions about the ordinance, I think it's important that we make any we're gonna tweak it or refresh it in any way, we should do it ahead of that hearing.
Well,
Mhm.
I need to call that lawyer again. I just wanna make sure, I did all the due diligence I could, and I didn't wanna spend too much of the town's money, so I was judicious in talking to the guy, but I just need to double check to make sure a couple of things. Number one, that the lobster issue, I mean, you know, make sure that that's necessary. And then also that the approval for each of the three areas is based on ordinance. It was written differently for each of the three areas, so I just need to double check and make sure that was because of the ordinance, so. I think it is, but I'll just double check.
I thought there was a lot of room for discretion. I didn't have any problem with it at all.
Oh, no, the first one, well, yes, I did too, so. We will move onwards and upwards. The next issue is, I think, our implementation of economic development plan. So we presented the plan to P and Z. We presented to Board of Selectmen, which actually is above and beyond, that's not on this list. Board of Finance is scheduled for November
20th. November 20th.
Oh, yeah, all right. Is it November 20th? Thank you.
Third Thursday.
Just one moment, I'm sorry for making everyone wait. And, Mike, would it be possible, we need to review the SDZ, and that's supposed to be happening in the winter. First step in that, can you email that to each of the commission members, including Joan? And so I think what we'll do is we'll schedule a detailed review. Do we not invite anyone else to that presentation? You can come on in.
This is where the meetings will be for the wetland walking?
7:30, yep.
Okay,
You can, yeah,
I
thank
got
you.
my mother on the car.
Okay,
Thank you.
I apologize. Where was I?
STZ
Oh.
revisiting.
Is there anyone else that we need to invite to that meeting to go over that?
I think that you should start by reviewing it and then you can provide comments and, decide, do you want to prepare something that you're formally proposing to this PZC?
Yeah,
PZC has had discussions about amending it as well. And we had joint meetings regarding this previously, so it could be something that you have a joint meeting with them.
I didn't really, I remember we went over this, I reviewed the DSTZs back a couple of years ago before they were approved. I didn't participate in the joint meetings with P and Z, and I also didn't participate in the warehouse meetings where the warehouse was voted down.
Mhm.
I know that was another issue. But I'm unfamiliar with objections that caused us to, essentially blank this out of the ordinance, out of the statute book. So, I mean, we should have a discussion about why that was and looking at and an honest assessment about do we still feel that this should move forward? How? And should we make any changes or alterations to what we proposed before?
It'll be coming back around to the PZC no matter what, because they have decided that they, don't want to leave it as a placeholder in the regs either way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be coming up one way or another.
I do.
Okay, so we'll review it and we will move forward. Let's plan on doing that at one of our upcoming meetings, probably last week. So
What's the next matter?
And would it be smart or not smart to start with planning and zoning before we know anything about the ordinance? I think we should start. This was, God, that was on Rick, right?
Yeah,
So you're talking 2.5, 3 years ago.
yeah.
Yes. 4.
There were a few vocal. Kind of got shot down.
Yeah.
I think it would be a smart idea. Having talked to the planning and zoning commission, Matt and I did, they lawyers, you know, they were all good.
I think, the plan has to be kind of put out to the public a little bit, that people know. That you really need to have planning and zoning and EDC more than formally periodically, you know. I think we have to be better informed on what they're looking at, and they have to know. And there's no cross purposes.
Well, Mike is on planning, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good, because we need to have that cross, and otherwise we're gonna have that shotgun.
I'm sorry, we're recording. I'd love to have you keep talking, it's okay, but we're recording it. It's gonna be hard for the other folks to hear. So, thank you, I appreciate it. I don't want to be rude. Thank you. So, yeah, you know, I agree. So Mike, you're reporting back to P and Z
Yeah,
about.
I've talked with them several times, you know, that we'd be interested in redoing it and figuring out a way to tweak it and what can be done. And I don't think we've come to any sort of definitive point of what the ideas of how to tweak it, because we kind of all agreed that it worked the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
very well. And so, how do you work something really well that already was proven? So, I think that's kind of the sticking point. It's going to be finite details that maybe tweak it a little bit, but
Yeah.
what
Okay.
those are to be figured out.
I'll make sure that it appears on the website and we'll announce the joint meetings.
Everybody's got a heads up, Kelly.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what we need.
All right, so that covers fall, and if we look at winter, this develop list of regional brokers was on our list as well, and that's EDC and EDC staff. And then I think that's it for fall, winter 2025. Is that right? Am I right on this?
Yeah, you are.
So that's the next thing. I would like to get a head start on coordination with some of our farmers in town. So is there, Mike, are you aware of any farm lists? If I talk to Kara, can she pull any kind of a list of folks?
She can tell you who's getting the farm exemption, but that is a definition on paper, you know, there's, yes.
Yeah.
Someone could be getting a farm tax deduction, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're.
I understand, but
Yeah.
is the opposite always true? That if they're a commercial sized farm, that they get that property tax exemption on the farm statute? I realize that not all exemptions are farmers, but are all farmers exemptions?
I don't know, because the statute, it's a statutory definition for farm under 490, and so it may be possible that a smaller scale farm is doing farming but doesn't meet the statutory definition. They'd be under the open space designation because they would only need 5 acres.
I'll pull what I can. Go ahead.
Wouldn't it be a registered list for sales and use purposes with the state per town?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to know. I would think your best bet is to just figure out who your most closest contact within that group would be, someone who's operating one here that could say, you know, who the people to talk to are.
Yeah.
I think if you go to Spencer and Jackie at Willow Valley, on Moose Meadow, I think they've pretty much got their ear to the ground with how many people around are actually.
Are you in touch with these? Did you guys talk to them? I know that you worked with Ernie on.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, Becky on planning and zoning, she's pretty well piped in with everything.
Okay, so.
Becky Sinoski.
That's Becky, I know that. Okay, I know who she is.
Okay, well, maybe going in through that way, maybe she's talking, if not, right, I know that Spencer is one who's talked to me about doing this.
Okay.
So, I don't know if I can try to find it out in the field, it's like getting a hold of anybody is difficult on that form.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember that.
yes. It's hard to find people on farm.
Which field was he in? Wrong track.
No, yeah, well, what they've done with that farm
Yeah.
is phenomenal. Really, it's really a very good example for the town, it really is, so. Without pushing their products, of course.
Okay. So I think that covers, the next steps in the strategic plan implementation. Next session, next meeting, we'll start going over, springtime issues, but let's just concentrate on winter now. So, I think that covers that. So today we covered, the, economic development strategic plan and, our commercial assessment stabilization, ordinance and next steps on that. And we also covered a little bit about, reaching out to our farmers.
I'll work with Mike on the developing the program.
Okay. That's, I think, for spring or summer.
That's for spring of 2026.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then, the next thing on our
No,
agenda.
that's winter of 25.
Yeah, that's quite a ways, but that's okay, it's good to get started. Anything else, anybody have anything else to add? Kathy Demers, you have your hand raised, have you pipe up?
Yeah, I just wanted to add into that topic about supporting farmers, just to let you know, the Conservation Commission is working on developing and presenting some potential ordinances that would support farmers in town. So going back, perhaps that's what Joan was alluding to, because Jackie Kulig is a member of our commission and she and Spencer are partners at the farm. So we're looking at ordinances that would give property tax exemption for farm buildings and also increase the exemption that's already allowed by state statute on farm machinery. So we'll be presenting that information to the new Board of Selectmen, probably sometime. We're going to request to be on their agenda, probably early December. And so, we can work with you on that. There are ways to find out through the tax assessor who's in 490 for farming, and also people that would qualify for these tax exemptions, because some of them already apply to the tax assessor for exemptions on farm machinery.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing on our list, I think, is minutes from the last meeting. I read these over when John put it together. They look good to me. Any comments? Make a motion to approve the minutes from our 8/18, or no,
September 22nd.
I'm sorry, September 22nd meeting. All those in favor say, second, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And unanimous is aye. Will be present to speak, public participation. Kathy, did you have anything else you'd like to ask? Or add?
No, I'm sorry. I'll just lower my hand. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for coming, Kathy. Anybody in the room? No? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Yes, sir.
Not yet, Joe.
In our hearts, you voted.
Next meeting.
That's okay. Hey, listen,
All right,
I'll always
we're
look
adjourned.
to
Thank you very much.